Welcome everyone to the virtual Venture Cafe, and a very special welcome to our first-time community members. Welcome to the family. Tonight is our digital health conference night presented by SOMPO Digital Lab. Venture Cafe is a nonprofit organization, and we rely on corporate partners, innovators like SOMPO Digital Lab to present all of our content free of charge. Thank you so much, SOMPO Digital Lab, for supporting us tonight. And with this, let me introduce Joseph Schmidt, who is going to lead and moderate this panel tonight. So Joseph Schmidt is the Vice President of Business Development at SOMPO Digital Lab. SOMPO is a leading Tokyo-based insurance, healthcare, and senior care conglomerate. Digital Lab identifies promising digital health solutions for deployment in Japan. With over 25 years of experience in Japan and the tech industries, Joseph plays a key role in enabling global digital health startups to succeed in Japan. And with this, over to you, Joseph. Welcome.
Thank you, Yulia. Thank you, everyone, for attending today. This is a virtual version of an in-person event we were planning to hold at the Venture Cafe in Cambridge in March. Venture Cafe in March, but hopefully this virtual version will do today. We were planning to have a bunch of sushi and drinks at the event, but we still have a great line of speakers and who will present to you today on digital health in Japan. The goal here isn't really to promote Sompo at all. We want to inform you about the digital health landscape in Japan and to inform you about and the issues, the healthcare issues in Japan and how Sompo is trying to address them. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce my colleague, Taro, who will introduce to you Sompo Holdings and Sompo Digital Lab. And what we're all about is really listening to innovators globally and enabling them to succeed in Japan. So Taro, you're on.
Okay, can you hear me? And we can, yeah, can you see that? Okay, thank you for joining us today. I'm Taro. I'm Senior Manager of Sompo Digital Lab. We are very excited to host this, to sponsor this event as a partner of CIC and Venture Cafe. Actually, we are based in West Coast Bay Area, nearby San Francisco, but we Sompo Digital Lab is partnering with CIC and Venture Cafe since 2017. So thank you for all of your support, Carrie, Chris, and Lindsay, Justin, and your folks at CIC and Venture Cafe. So today, we are sponsoring this event, which is focusing on digital health. So as a kickoff part of this session, please let me introduce ourselves, who is Sompo and who is Sompo Digital Lab and why we are here. This is our logo, Sompo Holdings. And this is our origin. Our original company was established in 1888. So actually, we Sompo is a 133 years old company. So we were established as the first home fire insurance company in Japan. And in Japan, more than 100 years ago, the house was wooden. So house fire happened very frequently, especially in the residential area. So that's why we started to offer the fire insurance for homeowners and also firefighting as a service. So this man formulated a private firefighters community to help people in need. So I believe that this fundamental philosophy is the same as now too. Then we've grown up over 130 plus years. Currently, we have roughly 35 billion US dollars as a global revenues. We have 80,000 of employees as global, and we have more than 20 million customers in Japan. And now we have 4 business domains in our group. We have a domestic P&C insurance business, which is an original one for us, and still the biggest business portion in our group. And also we have overseas insurance businesses among 30 countries and regions. And also we have a life insurance business. In the following session, my colleague Joe will introduce about Sompo Himari Life, which is very unique and innovative life insurance company. And the green one is relatively the new domain for us. We entered to the elderly nursing care business and healthcare service businesses in the last 5 years. As you may know, Japan is facing aging population. This is completely separated from insurance businesses. This is totally service businesses for the people who need care. So our nursing care business, so-called Sompo Care, is operating almost 26,000 units in roughly 400 living facilities for elderly people who need care. So this is actually the biggest operator in Japan. So over 100 plus years, we are constantly evolving our business model. So it's from fire insurance to auto insurance, life insurance, and nursing care, and also healthcare services. As a new example, we are developing a mobility as a service business in Japan under the Sompo brand. We started this business with DNA, which is the gaming IT company in Japan. The left side shows Enika, which is offering P2P car sharing platform, similar to Get Around or Turo in the US. Of course, we can offer the insurance coverage to these kind of the new type of business as an insurance company. However, more than this, we are interested in these types of businesses that offers the new customer experience. So as represented by these cases, we are diversifying our business model from just an insurance paper policy provider to service provider, which is related to our corporate slogan, innovation for well-being. So as you can see, Sompo is quite a big company, but also a very entrepreneurship mindset company. So we are agile, we are innovative, we are willing to do new things. And also, yeah, we are a global company based in Tokyo. So what I'd like to say, we are not just an insurance company. So in this sense, we need more open innovation. So that's why for expediting our initiatives, we launched Sompo Digital Lab in Tokyo and here in the US in 2016, almost 4 years ago. And also as a third location, we launched Sompo Digital Lab Tel Aviv in Israel 2 years ago. In the US, we are fostering our innovation platform. We are the limited partner of these VCs, including Sozo Ventures, and we made a partnership with these accelerators and incubators, including CIC and Mass Challenge in the East Coast, New England area. And we are also the partner with these academia's corporate liaison program, including MIT ILP. And also, we believe the value of design. So usually insurance lacks it, but we are seriously thinking we believe that we have to change it. So that's why not only for service development, but also corporate culture changing, we are doing several projects with these design firms. And our role, Sompo Digital Lab's role, is a kind of the bridge between global innovation and Sompo businesses. So we'd like to position ourselves as a platform for entering in Japanese market. So we already brought several projects to Japan, to Sompo businesses in Japan. So yeah, as a symbolic initiative, last fall, we established Palantir Technology Japan by 50% joint venture with Peter Thiel. So as you familiar too, Palantir is Peter Thiel's world-leading data science company. So we are not just their user. We are the partner for them to build the data business in Japan together. So we can utilize data from our current businesses like caregiving, auto insurance, life insurance, and also healthcare businesses, and also from our partners as well. So we are seriously thinking the data business will be our new business domain in the near future with them. Meanwhile, healthcare is the next one. So as I mentioned earlier, we have a life insurance business We have elder nursing care business and a couple more healthcare businesses. But also we believe that there are much more opportunities in healthcare in Japan. So definitely we will accelerate our activities in this area, so that we need more open innovation as we've done before. Okay, so it's almost time. So why do we think so? And where is the opportunity? And why Japan now for you? About these topics, you will learn from the following sessions by Hiroki from VCs, Miki from consultant, and Dora from startup. They are experts about these topics from each point of view. So the following session will be the insightful and fruitful for everybody, I think. So yeah, again, thank you for joining us today, and yeah, please enjoy the rest of today's event. Thank you.
Joe, I think you're still...
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, thanks, thanks Kayara-san, Taro. Up next, we have Matsuda-san, Hiroki from Sozo Ventures, who will kind of give us an overview of what's happening in digital health and healthcare overall in Japan. So take it away, Matsuda-san.
Sure. Hello, everybody. Can you hear me clearly? Okay. So thank you, Joe-san and Kaihara-san. I'm Hiroki from Sozo Ventures. I'm a principal at Sozo Ventures, then based in Bay Area, the Red City. Today, as Joe-san mentioned, I want to briefly explain the landscape of healthcare in Japan, also the opportunity. Then I want to provide a couple like a unique idea about the partnership, for example. So before the presentation about myself, I'm Hiroki. Then I work for Sozo over the 4 years half. Then before Sozo, I work for Accenture as a management consultant. Then I pursue master degree of international relations and public policy. So today I want to provide several perspectives about the topic. So first of all, about Sozo. Sozo Venture is venture capital firm based in Red City, Silicon Valley. Then we invest US startup company who is considered global market entry, especially Japanese market entry. Then one of our strong thesis is the top VC is very, very limited. Then they have huge influence on innovation. So we every time co-invest with such kind of top tier investors, including Founders Fund, Investor for Frontier, for example, or benchmark investor for Twitter, for example, then we're going to invest called readiness stage company. I mean, typically stage-wise, like a B to C to D, but like as I say, the startup company start to consider global market entry. But many people say this model is very easy to say, but it's very, very difficult to deliver. So one perspective to get the investment opportunity for the great startup company is Japan and Asia. So we bridge US and Japan through our strong partnership, including Sompo, for example. So we almost 70% of our limited partner is Japanese leading company in each industry. So from bank or insurance, healthcare, retail, logistics, IT, or a couple others. Then not just do the introduction, but also creating the businesses. We provide the tangible value to startup company, then definitely startup company, then also their investor. So we very work hard, of course, after the investment, and also before investment, we work very hard. Then this is the results or achievement. So initial investment was Twitter. Then after that, we invested the Frontier or MongoDB, Square, Fastly. Then recently Zoom or Flexport. Then also Neurotrack, definitely. Then we support this company penetrate Japanese market entry. So then also one of our uniqueness is we many people saw the movie called Moneyball, right? Then using the sabermetrics and the data. So then find the great baseball player. So not like a scout capability or scout experience, but utilizing data. So we played 2020 Moneyball in innovation. Then we create map for success. Then historically, we utilizing the relationship with the organization called Kaufman Fellows, one of the biggest educational organization for venture capital industry in the States. Then we gathered investment information. Then we find out who is a good venture capitalist in each industry. But nowadays, more than that, we try to find the use case information about the big corporate in US, for example, then also the partnership information in the US. Then we try to find out who is the smart investor, also who are the smart corporation, then also what is the best practice for the innovation. Then today, I utilizing that data, then try to explain what is the view of Japan, especially about healthcare. Then Japan is an advanced country and a leading country, but facing the social issue. So point is, like aging, also the low economic growth will be the typical issue for many advanced countries in near the future, including US. The more than that China might be. So some people already start to say China will face the aging society in near the future. So the issue or like a solution would be the common solution for the other country in near the future. So this is a very, very key point. Then especially the healthcare is one of the frontier of such kind of issue. So this is the change of working age population, the aging rate in Japan. So nowadays, surprisingly or sadly, like almost 25 or 20% of is the aging rate. The percentage over the age 60. But in 30 or 40 years, that figure would be double. It's crazy number. Then also the government say we recommend like a working opportunity at least 70 years old. So it means like government need to pay for their employee insurance, also the health cost. So it's huge burden for the company itself. So that's why healthcare is social issue definitely, then also the business issue for many large Japanese enterprise. Then, but as I said, issue is not just issue, but also it's kind of like opportunity, especially healthcare world. So the needs for healthcare is clear, as I mentioned. So various startup company, especially Japanese startup company, have provided healthcare services in the past. However, due to the technical issues or constraints, many startups have been largely a kind of tool-like services. Like a just device or just monitoring the system, such kind of thing. So in addition, the target segment for services was also largely divided between customer, patient, or doctor or hospital. Everything is divided. So the service that are now being required, more integrated service. So like for example, for particular disease, like a cancer or diabetes, there's a need for services integrated patients or family or hospital, doctor or regulators in a single, as I said, integrated platform. And then to monitor and respond to patient health, not only after the patients become ill, but also before they became ill. Then until now, as I said, most of the healthcare services provided by startups mainly focus in the B2C model. But however, many startup companies are struggling to grow their businesses after getting early adopter because they provided very light touch or inexpensive services. So that service is very difficult to differentiate and often fell into price wars. So diet apps is a typical example. They are struggling to expand their businesses and including the paid membership. So we need to explore the B2B2C or B2B2 employee model in order to achieve in the more robust businesses. So as I mentioned earlier, many Japanese larger corporates are struggling with employee healthcare and insurance costs. So they have high incentive to improve the health of the employee. So we can expect the rise of model called B2B2E, as I said, B2B2 employee, working with insurance company or larger financial institutions, for example. So the next one is, it's kind of like a summary and one idea. So who is the best candidate as a partner? So the needs healthcare is so clear. So various, I mean, like there are many opportunities. So typical like a partnership, definitely healthcare provider, also the pharmaceutical company. But today I'd like to introduce two unique candidates. So one is definitely the insurance company. Then this is not the advertisement for Sompo, but the reality is many Japanese insurance companies, including Sompo, are struggling with differentiate themselves beyond insurance rates or premium. So the needs of customer are more expanding. I mean, before illness or after illness, definitely. They're not just financial support. So there's a need for change from a model of supporting people with money after bad things happen. But let's change to a model of supporting people to keep bad things from happening. So a variety of healthcare services answer these needs. So insurance company also have strong relationship with health insurance union of each company. So they could be a great partner as health solution provider. Then retailers are like a convenience store or supermarket would be the unique potential partner. If you visit Japan, you notice there are many convenience stores around the corner and Tokyo, for example. So many people stop by the convenience store several times a day. So Japanese retail store, especially convenience store, can be an important channel for technology services. So Square, for example, Lawson was the largest distribution channel in the world, and 5 years ago, working with Lawson. So various collaborative ideas can be considered. So such as like creating the Amazon card type of healthcare focused services, then putting QR code on card, then selling in the convenience store, then conducting promotion that combine healthy products in convenience store and services. So many people, as I said, focusing on pharmaceutical or healthcare service provider who is the best candidate or partnership. But beyond that, there are many opportunities in Japan concerning the current unique status, also the issue. So I'm happy to listen to the Q&A session, the later part. So, but thank you for listening to my presentation.
Thank you, Matsuda-san, for the very illuminating presentation. Up next, we're going to focus a little more on a specific issue, namely women's participation in the Japanese economy and women's health. And presenting for us will be Miki-san, Miki St. John from Deloitte. So Miki, you're on. Good luck.
Hi. I somehow cannot share my screen. Can you make me a host, Julia? Thanks.
Yes, absolutely. Probably something happened. Give me just 1 second.
Yeah.
Here we go. Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so I think of my camera. Okay, today I would like to talk a little bit about like a woman's perspective, and Hiroki-san talked a little bit about Japan healthcare landscape overview, but today especially, what's really happening in Japan and, who we would like to target as a market segment. Yep. Let me introduce myself. My name is Miki St. John, and I have actually 2 hats. One in US, sitting in the Bay Area, working for Deloitte Consulting US. At the same time, I have other hat based in Japan, which is Deloitte Japan side, and it's called the DTBS. So we support the startups in Japan. So we have a #1 biggest innovation pitch platform. It's called a Morning Pitch, and we try to connect the large corporation and the startups and all the stakeholders. So my focus in here in Bay Area is like apparently connecting two markets, US and Japan. And I also have great experiences working in Google as a people management and also diversity inclusion. So the women, healthcare, and IT is one of my core interests as well. The Hiroki-san also mentioned that here is the Japan's, what the challenge. So you can take a look at decreasing populations, and it used to be 126 million. So now decreasing so rapidly, and that is directly connecting to a younger generation with drop in like half of the sizes. And then that's also connected to the low women's fertility rate, which is 1.4. So average family has 1.4 babies. So usually, or ideally, we would like to have a 2. And as Hiroki-san also mentioned, so that means to our shortage of workforce and a super aging society, which means like people 65 years old and up would be 40% in 2060s. As a reference, you can compare the low fertility rate to other countries. The US, for example, is 1.8, and in France, we consider is a success model. It's almost closely 2. And the pace is like workforce shortage is faster than any other countries. So what Japan is doing right now is, so Prime Minister Abe introduced the economic growth, the bundle policies. It's called Abenomics in 2013, that includes the women-focused policies and initiatives. A lot of discussions happening since then, which is great. And one research shows if Japan is closing this gender gap, that would contributed to increase the GDP by 15%. So what is included in a Women Plus Economic focus? I think Goldman Sachs used to be called the Womenomics in 1999. So the components has 3, and one is to remain and retain a woman in the workforce after they have a children. And second piece is to advance the higher career. So at the time, the leadership role position was filled only 6% by women, but the goal is increased to 30% by 2020, which is this year. So this year is a very special year for Japan for this area. But take a look at where we are here. This is the latest report. It's a gender gap index by World Economic Forum. So Japan is unfortunately very low ranking. Is like 121st out of 153. Especially that comes from political empowerment and economic participation pieces. The good news is the women's remain in work after giving a birth. So like at 20 or 30. So the graph at the left side, it's called the M curves. And like 70s, when I was born, like my moms, they quit the job after either marriage or having a child, but now it's changing. Actually, the participation rate is very high, higher than the US and UK. So this is good news. So that leads into all the societal changes. So right now in Japan, the household with only dad working and the woman at home is decreasing. So both working parents household now is a majority. also individual mindset. In 75, only 17% of men would say the old-fashioned gender model, like a woman should stay at home as a housewife after marriage. But now, 2016, and probably more in this year, 50% would say no. So more than half of the people would agree with, modern type of the value or family lifestyle. But bad news is so advances in women's career pace is still behind, and the gender gap is still wide. So Japan is still like 13.2% of women has a leadership role. So what's blocking this? So those are the work rules and how the business works in Japan. So this is probably a lot of people are familiar with. It's kind of an infamous Japanese work cultures, like a lifelong employment and the senior wage systems, and everything was working perfectly in 70s, 80s. But the problem is it's not really improved or updated to adjust the modern society. Also, in addition to the woman, it's herself, and we have like, pregnancy, childcare, menopause, like herself, like ourselves, we have our own like challenges. Yeah. So let's hear the woman voice here. Like I said, the society and then individuals are changing. So almost 70% of women desire to work for the women-friendly, diversity-friendly workplace. And the men and the women, more than half of the employees acknowledge the value of importance of women in the top executives or leadership roles. But yet, and only 17% of women wants to take those leadership roles, because it's hard, I guess. But also, we can take a look in the other side of the women's voices. Interesting numbers is 68% of women decline or say no to the career promotion chances due to the women's specific healthcare issues, like menopause or even a menstrual issues or concerns. And 60% of women experience decreases per performance because of those health issues. And then also we discovered the 41% would increase their performance if those healthcare concerns or conditions improve. So this is very interesting, and it makes a total business sense. So the last year, just like the rest of the world, in Japan, a femtech solution, the female-specific technology is rising in Japanese market as well. So those are some of the startup in Japan I have touched upon, and also the mentoring for, and also the Hiroki-san also mentioned earlier, so the corporations are very keen on taking this solution as well for their employees. So B2B2E model is actually starting to happen. And let's get back to the working style. So the major company like Toyota and Mitsubishi UFJ Banking, the top two leading companies, just declaring the commitment to redesign those old-fashioned styles to adjust to modern style and to thrive in innovation as well. So this is a huge message to the whole society. So this is another research show. This is run by us, like Deloitte Thomas in Japan. Almost 90% of the companies already reforming and redesign the way they work. So I'm very sorry about what's happening right now as a pandemic, COVID-19 things, but I'm trying to take a look at the bright side as a silver lining. So everything goes remote, the telework and online meetings, telemedicine, and then also working from home. That kind of everything's forced them to do so. So we are actually seeing a lot faster digital transformation things in Japan. So this, we consider it is a very great opportunity. So as a summary, Japan is right now is really changing to redesign the future of work in order to support women and like diversity friendly modern cultures and to support modern working parents family. So the gender gap is closing the gender gap is a priority, and then also advancing women's career is key. And I would like to talk about, how the technology or healthcare technology or even femtech or anything could help to solve this. And then again, 2020, this year onward is going to be a interesting and a very new beginning year to accelerate this change. Oops, and thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Miki. Very enlightening. Actually, women's health is enabling women to participate longer in the workforce is a key issue for Sompo. We're focused on, providing women's health so they can do that. But I will get to that shortly. I am up next, and I will present on Himawari, which is Sompo's life insurance business. Let me see. Okay, so let me talk to you about Himawari, which is Sompo's life insurance business. It is not, Himawari, Sompo overall, most of its revenue comes from property and casualty, but it is a full line insurance company. Himawari is approximately about a $4 billion business with 95 branches throughout Japan, 15,000 agencies, and 2,900 employees. Now, what makes Himawari interesting is that because it's not Sompo's flagship business, it can be, it's less, I think it's more inclined to take risk, to be very innovative, and to really incorporate global innovation into its business. It's very, very nimble. I've worked with them. Tara and I have worked with them for about a year and a half now. Very nimble, always trying to do new things. That said, Himawari still has access to Sompo Group's 2 million customers. So it's more agile, and it's by no means amongst the largest insurance companies in Japan, but it still has access to 2 million Sompo Group customers, which is one of the benefits, we think of working with Himawari. And currently, the real focus of Himawari, its bread and butter, is what it calls Insure Health. And this is actually a registered trademark. It's the term is owned by Sompo. Through Insure Health, Himawari is looking to combine the financial security of insurance with predictive and preventative healthcare. To really simplify what the benefit of Insure Health is, it's really cash back in the form of lowered premiums for staying healthy. And we're focused on various areas, which I will cover in this next slide. But, and another key point is that the issues involve, and people in digital health should be familiar with this, early detection, measuring adherence and outcomes, and of course, enabling our customers to change their behavior so they stay more healthy. And the innovations that we focus on are startups that enable us to do this. And so startups that are focused on these areas are of immense value to us. Now, so to date, these are the solutions that we've developed. The first one we just announced back in December is a diabetes service, a health insurance service, launched in partnership with a Taiwan-based company named Health2Sync. Basically, the benefit here is that policyholders get cash back in the form of lowered premiums when their hemoglobin levels are lowered. And what Health2 does is transforms this blood glucose data into actionable health information, so policyholders can comply to enable compliance and adherence to a health program that will keep their glucose levels down, their hemoglobin levels down, so they can derive a financial benefit and improve their health, of course. In Japan, I mean, diabetes, compared to the US, it may sound like a non-issue, but there are currently 3 million diabetes patients in Japan, and it's increasing yearly. So this is an important issue that the Japanese government, as well as Sompo, is tackling. The next product, and this was developed much earlier, is called Pink, and it is a service, insure health service focused on female cancer, namely breast cancer, cervical cancer, ovarian cancer. And this was not developed in partnership with a startup, but developed internally at Sompo. And what it does is it provides curated health information for cancer survivors. The issue, of course, is early detection. In Japan, screening rates are extremely low. Only 40% of women get screened. So part of the effort here is educating women about about female cancer and the benefits of early detection. So this is a major focus of Sompo, as well as the government. And the next is dementia insurance. And I don't want to steal our partner's thunder. Dora Lamb from Neurotrack will be joining us on a panel shortly, so I don't want to steal her thunder. But basically, this is a wellness program consisting of diet, fitness, and social engagement. The key is early detection of MCI and making sure that we can slow down or even reverse the progression of dementia. But again, we'll talk about Neurotrack shortly. And finally, Bina, this is a work, stress management. This is still a work in progress. We are working with a Tel Aviv-based startup named Bina, which leverages AI to detect stress in people, as well as respiratory issues, heart issues, and prescribe healthy behavior. So this is a work in progress, and hopefully this year we'll have a product to announce. Now, when we engage with startups, a big request that we have is marketing support in Japan, recruiting support, and so this is an opportunity that we engaged startups, two of our partners for Neurotrack and Bina, in January of this year at CES. Sompo exhibited its health solutions, and I believe it was the first Japanese insurance company to exhibit at CES. So this is the really kind of interesting stuff that Himawari likes to do. And so we got, it was really kind of surprising. At our booth, we generated quite a bit of buzz, and Japanese media were there to cover us, and of course our partners benefited from it. And this is another a story that Japanese media wrote for us, featuring Ellie Kaplan, the CEO of Neurotrack. And so these are opportunities that we have often, actually, with media interested in what Sompo, and namely Himawari, are doing with global partners. So we like to share these opportunities as much as possible. So in closing, what Sompo or Himawari is looking to do is really create a marketplace of health services. And the solutions that we look to provide are focused on, again, chronic conditions. Just because we have solutions now doesn't preclude us from looking for newer solutions in the market. We're always looking to keep refining our solutions and innovating. Another area, as per Miki's presentation, is women's and family health. We need to enable women to participate in the workforce in Japan, and that means providing ongoing healthcare, convenient, easily accessible health services. Another area is mental health. This is a big theme right now globally, and Japan is no different. And so we see an opportunity, even pre-COVID, there's opportunity in mental health, but I think, again, it's been accelerated as a result of the pandemic. And other wellness services, sleep management, fitness, and diet, of course, are areas that we're interested in. So that pretty much wraps it up for Himawari. And so the next step, the next segment of the webinar is our panel, in which Hiroki and Miki and Dora Lam from Neurotrack will be joining us. Okay, so is everyone ready?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So thank you again for taking part in our webinar. And this panel is hopefully will be free flowing and pretty dynamic. Before we start, I'd like to introduce Dora Lam from Neurotrack, who will introduce herself as well as Neurotrack.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Joe. And thank you to the Venture Cafe and Sompo Digital Labs for this opportunity. My name is Dora Lamb. I am the Director of Product Marketing at Neurotrack, which you've heard a few mentions of earlier. And I'll tell you just a little bit more about our company so you're familiar with it, and then happy to share anything of value that, that we've experienced in entering the Japanese market. So I actually have just a couple of slides, so I'll go ahead and share. Okay, can you all see my screen? Okay, I'm gonna assume that's a yes. So Neurotrack is a company that was founded in 2012. We're based in the Bay Area in Redwood City. And our founders are Ellie Kaplan. She's our current CEO. And we have a number of scientific co-founders as well. Dr. Stuart Zola out of Emory University, Dr. Buffalo, and Cecilia Manzanares. And they continue to help guide the company today on our scientific research and development. Our goal really at Neurotrack, our mission is to transform the diagnosis and prevention of Alzheimer's disease and related dementias. It's a lofty goal. It's one that has been, it continues to be a goal for many in the research field for Alzheimer's. There is no cure today. And so what we are providing is a solution to try to approach it from a preventative approach through cognitive health. We are backed by a number of venture firms. Here you can see on the slide, Khosla Founders Fund, Social Capital, Sozo Ventures, as well as Sompo Holdings and Daiichi Life. So what is it that we offer? This is just a quick snapshot. So we develop a mobile app, and it delivers a cognitive health program. There's really three components to it. The first is based on cognitive assessment, where the individual can take cognitive assessments on their app, through an app on their phone. And these are clinically validated assessments that have been digitized to assess cognitive health at the moment that you are taking it, so on that day. You receive scores, and you can continue to monitor yourself over time. The goal is to check your cognition, your brain health, as you would your physical health. So many of us get annual physicals, or maybe monitor our blood pressure. So the goal is to have people monitor their cognitive health in that same way. And then the third component is to strengthen. So understanding where your cognitive health is the first baseline. And as you continue to check on it and monitor it, in between that time, our goal is to help you strengthen your cognitive health as well. And this is where our lifestyle intervention comes into play. So that includes diet, nutrition, sleep, exercise, cognitive training, etc. And all of that is delivered to the user through our app, and they can use that at home. So our model is a B2B2C model. Neurotrack partners with organizations who are interested in providing Neurotrack as a benefit to their customer base or to their employees. So I'll talk a little bit more later about our partnership with Sompo Holdings, specifically the Himawari division, where we have partnered to deliver Neurotrack to their policyholders. Okay, so that's a little bit about Neurotrack.
Great, thanks. Yeah, thanks, Dora. Appreciate that. So I'd like to kind of go into our panel discussion, and so the first, we will focus on market entry. I think a lot of startups out there are interested in Japan, and interested in the keys to success in market entry. So the first question for Dora. I think Neurotrack is kind of unique in that it's really focused on Japan, and that's been your real initial market. And I just wanted to know what your strategy obviously partnering with Sompo is a key part of that. What your strategy has been, and really what has, where you are in your Japan initiative, and what the keys to success have been.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great question. So originally Neurotrack was not focused on Japan. We are a US-based company, and naturally the US was going to be our first market. However, a couple of years ago, we got a really great introduction by one of our investors, Sozo. Matsuda-san is on the line here, so he knows this well. But we had an introduction to a couple of corporations in Japan who were seeking out solutions in the dementia health space. So, we quickly realized that Japan would be a great market fit for us based on a number of factors, such as, the demographics. As it's been mentioned a few times already, Japan is a super aging society where, 1 in 4 adults are over 65. And unfortunately, age is the #1 risk factor for dementia and Alzheimer's. So, the population certainly there was a great need there. Japan also is a very technologically forward society. So there's a high usage of mobile devices, mobile apps. That's very common, and that would be, something that Neurotrack would fit into easily. And I think also, there is no cure for Alzheimer's. So the governments, corporations, in any country where they're dealing with an aging population, these institutions are desperate for a solution for dementia. It's the #1 feared disease among most people. And so there's a desperate need to look for some type of solution there. So, when we were introduced to Sompo and a number of other companies, it was interesting to learn about Himori's specific strategy with insurance and healthcare. So Insure Health, where they were looking for solutions, technological solutions that could help their policyholders improve their quality of life and really take that preventative approach. So the synergy there was really strong. And so we worked with Sompo, Himori Life specifically. In 2019, we ran a proof of concept to launch an MVP version of our app with their employees. And we were learning. We were in a learning phase. So it was for us to learn more about our product, get feedback, and for the Himori Life employees to, try this really innovative technology and also have a chance to provide us feedback. So that's how we started. We started with that proof of concept, and that went well. We learned a lot. We iterated our product since then, and we're actually right at the brink of launching commercially next month. And so all is going well. We continue to gather feedback. We're a very innovative startup where we want to continue improving and learning more about the Japanese population, what they need, what they like. There's a lot of localization involved in that. So I think that the partnership is strong and that we are continuing to collaborate and iterate to really deliver the best solution for Himori Life's customers.
Yeah. What challenges did you face?
Yeah.
Yeah, were there many? Japan is not an easy market to enter for a startup. So I just
right.
would you recommend, is partnering the only way? Should companies go direct?
Right. Yeah, no, that's a good question. So, Neurotrack being an American company with, we did not have any Japanese employees at the time. Entering Japan was a scary feat. And you're right, it's not an easy market. Localization, when I say that, I don't just mean translation. We initially, that was our first step, and we quickly learned that the Japanese are very astute. They can definitely pick up when it's an American company trying to communicate something and they have just purely translated it. It's very different from generating original Japanese content from a Japanese native writer. So, so I would say localization is probably the biggest challenge, but if you can get it right, it's definitely, you know, one that I think signals a lot of success in the future. What we did is, you know, we decided that, you know, we're going to commercialize in Japan. So what do we need to do as a company to prepare for that? And we invested in hiring a team. So we hired some Japanese folks in our team, or in our office here in Redwood City, but we also hired a team locally based in Tokyo to work on the front lines with Sompo and with other companies, because that face-to-face interaction was really key. And that is something I would say about Japanese business culture, is the face-to-face is very important. So, you know, what else on localization? So not just hiring the people to do it, but we also worked with a Tokyo-based research firm to understand consumer insights. We did multiple days of focus groups to learn the ins and outs of Japanese people in our target demographic, which is 50 to 70-year-olds. And we just soaked it up. We soaked it up like a sponge, and then turned that into, you know, integrated that into our product development, and continue to get feedback from our partners and our users. So I would say we're still trying to improve. It's a continuous process, but it's something not to be overlooked, because the localization is very important. I think that, you know, if you are considering entering Japan, that is something that would be critical to focus on.
You mentioned, you know, local representation. You know, how important is that? Having someone locally in Japan to, you know, drive business development, drive sales, marketing.
Yeah, it's really important. I mean, it's I think we all appreciate face-to-face, and especially in Japan, as I said, you know, it is very, there is a very traditional sense of conducting business meetings. And so that face-to-face is important. So, you know, there were many times that, you know, Ellie and our executive team also flew out to Tokyo, but for those day-to-day, week-to-week, it was just really important for us to have that line of communication, a direct line of communication. And I think, you know, it also establishes trust and credibility for both our partners, but also for for the employees, for the sales team who is out there promoting Neurotrack, and ultimately for the users to know that we are an American-based company, but we have, you know, representation in Japan, and that, you know, we are seeking feedback from them for the improvement of the product for them, for their population. So so I do think the partnership for us was really valuable. You know, we're an unknown brand, we're new, so being able to partner with an established, well-recognized brand and company, you know, 133 years of business in Japan is very powerful, and is like an endorsement for us, right?
Listen, can I ask one? Can I add one comment as for the Japan Lab type discussion? And as Dora said, like in specific timing, the Japanese lab and the Japanese entity is critical to get the businesses, expand the businesses in Japan. Then the point is the timing of setting up the Japan entity, also the hiring people in Japan. So the reason is, first of all, we recommend do not hire the talent and establish Japan entity as of day one when the company decide they want to enter Japanese market, because the biggest reason is in Japan the job market is super rigid, So if global startup company does not achieve the tangible results, almost it is impossible to hire top tier talent in Japan. So Neurotrack case, the management team, they have big discussion between Sompo, then having like a tangible image of businesses, then agreement, and after that, Neurotrack decide to establish Japan entity, then hire the Japanese people as key person in Japan day-to-day communication. So as Dora said, like such kind of talent is super important. Then in addition to that, the timing of decide when and what type of people is very, very important.
I know Sozo plays a pretty big role in helping, played a pretty big role in helping Neurotrack enter Japan. But with other startups as well, how do you help their, recruiting, for example?
Yeah. So first of all,
how is the advice that you provide different from other, VC firms, for example?
Yeah. Then first of all, most of VC firm, their barrier function is after investment. So having conversation before the investment, then they said we can do that support. Then after that, they invest. I mean, the startup company choose which investor is good working with for the future. Then our model is a little bit different. Of course, after investment, value add and working together is important perspective, but we spend a lot of time before the investment because the Silicon Valley, especially the competition is very fierce. So as I said, showing the value is very important to get a good deal, including Neurotrack, for example. So for example, Neurotrack, before investment, we worked with Neurotrack almost 2.5 or 3 years. Then at the time, there are no proof of investment opportunity. So we had the discussion about the Japanese market entry strategy, also the hiring strategy, the basic idea, who is the good candidate or partnership. Then through that discussion or collaboration, definitely Sozo can understand Neurotrack or startup company can work or success in Japan. Then also more importantly, startup company can evaluate Sozo. What is Sozo value? So we believe such kind of dialogue or trust building is very important. So point is, before investment, we heavily support the company, especially related in Japan and Asian market.
I would think it really behooves global startups entering Japan to really focus on hiring women because there's so much talent out there. So Miki, Miki-san, this question is for you. I mean, you were with Google in Japan. If you're a startup entering Japan, would you agree that there's a huge opportunity really trying to recruit women?
Yeah, I would think so. Like, the Matsuda-san mentioned, it's like the whole, the talent, hiring talent is so, just everything is fixed when you enter the workforce after the graduation. It's never changed. It's still mobility of talent is one of the bad things in Japan in a way. But at the same time, as so many talented women dropped out from the market, I mean, not their actual intentions, but pregnancy or husband going to different prefectures or something like that, and then women's unwillingly to drop the workforce, but they have the same talent or more flexibility in everything. So I was a hiring manager for Google for, I don't know, it's like many years, like 7 years or so. Even at Google, and it actually the first job in SAP Japan. So that was now it's not a startup, but not Japanese company coming in a Japan market. They have the problems, how to get the talent. And then lucky for us, I guess, it's then there is a huge market for the women, the portfolio. And then a lot of headhunters companies are trying to do that for last 10 years, especially. not really too much focus on it, but communication skills and English skill for global company, for example, and then that is the huge potential for women's side as well, and then also the startup or the technology company stuff too. So, and it's like I said, everything is changing right now. It's all the values and lifestyles and the corporate management changing. So this is a great opportunity for everyone.
Yeah. So providing women's health services enables, I think, women to participate in the workforce. There are a lot of companies in Silicon Valley in the US focused on women's health. What advice would you give a female CEO interested in getting into Japan?
Oh, the first females, non-Japanese company CEO going to...
Ellie of Neurotrack, is a female CEO leading a global startup, US-based startup in Japan. What advice would you give female CEOs interested in entering Japan?
Well, for the business as a Greece, so definitely, finding a partner, a corporate partner, which is definitely, even though I said in everything is changing, but it's still, relationship business, and then it's kind of an old-fashioned business model. So as a business, definitely to build a corporation partners. At the same time, when it comes in and hiring people, it's like a diverse talents out there. And then also to attract the women or those, even though who dropped out of the workforce once for like a couple of years, and then, get into that pool of talents and then provide healthcare services, just like, all the tech company is doing in the US as a B2B2E type of stuff like fertility, and then also just understanding the women's needs or something that's just changed, it's a game-changing things that we recently discovered. I thought at the time this is only US things, but now we conducted a lot of research with the Himawari as well. And then a lot of modern women, not only women, modern family, both working parents really appreciate that kind of solutions.
Great.
From the company, and they're also CEOs.
Okay. I think there's just a huge opportunity for startups entering Japan to really hire really capable women in Japan. Matsuda-san, what do you like about working with foreign, US-based startups entering Japan? What really excites you?
Yeah, so fun part, bringing innovation and achieve social impact. So it's very, very like a fun part for me. Then of course there are many challenging, tough parts. So, but it's kind of like a flip side of coin. Then there are many fun parts. So for example, challenging part is bridging the different value in culture. For example, in this context, value and culture is not nationality. So for example, might be Kaiha-san feel, but like Japanese people working in Silicon Valley may be more aggressive than US people working in Tokyo. So people's value and the culture totally depends each member's background, also the current organization, right? So not simplify, but figuring out what is the landscape of overall value or culture of startup company or partner with larger corporate side is tough, but crucial and the fun part for me. So there are lot of things we can learn from the collaboration between global startup company, also bridging them with Japanese larger enterprises in Tokyo and in Silicon Valley as well.
So Dora, what excites you? I mean, we talked about the challenges, about around localization and whatnot. What excites you about, working in Japan or with a Japanese company like Sompo? I mean, people talk about the food, the convenience, of Tokyo. What do you look forward to when you have a business trip to Japan?
Yeah, definitely the food. I have to agree with you there. And the people, they're very kind, and it's just the cleanest place I've ever seen. So, but I think that what unites us all is that we want to tackle this huge global health issue, and that regardless of culture, age, sex, these differences, that is the unifying factor that makes this so worthwhile despite the challenges. But it's so rewarding because, for me, I get to learn about Japanese culture deeply, and how much more close can you get to learning about someone is to understand their fears and their vulnerabilities when it comes to their families and this very terrifying disease. So I think that's something I enjoy, and continues to drive me. And I think with the Sompo team as well is the issue of dementia, cognitive health, and that there really is something you can do about it. Early is better. Understand your brain health just as you do your physical health, and the goal is to bring it to as many people as possible.
Cool. So. Very, very nice. Okay, so the last question is for Miki. What are you passionate about? I mean, you work with Sompo. You're an advisor to Sompo. What can companies like Sompo who want to work with global startups? What can we do better?
Oh, and I guess just like I keep saying, is everything is changing right now. So you just have to double or triple that kind of cultures that everyone is agreed on. I think right now it's like innovation cultures is more, it's like unlock like old-fashioned stereotype model mentally, and then also organizationally as well. And then SDL. I'm not like promotion you guys, but I think, the companies in Silicon Valley, Japanese company based in Silicon Valley, they're trying to pave the new way to do that. And so I'm so excited about that too. Not only like a, women's issue at all, just in general, it's like modernizing Japan. So we would like, I'm very passionate about like a gender gap and everything, but in the end, to support the future families in future Japan, that would be my continuous life work and passion.
Great. Yeah, I feel the same way. Working with Sompo and Japan, and really opening up the country to new ways and companies to new ways of doing things. We're running out of time, so we need to kind of switch gears to our Q&A. We have a few, and I'd like to share them with you. And if you'd like to volunteer and answer, please do, okay?
Also, Josan, there's some question posted on chat in addition to Q&A, so just...
Yeah, why don't you take the Sozo ones? There are a couple directed at Sozo.
Yeah.
So you take your pick, and if you could read the question and then follow up with an answer, that would be great.
Okay, so related COVID-19 and the Sozo basic strategy would be the good part for most of listener related the current solution. So basically, our like key investment domain, including healthcare, also fintech or enterprise software, also the related AI and automation technology-wise. Clear thing about the impact of COVID-19, we don't change a lot about our strategy. Then there are many opportunity of innovation, especially for the corporate. Then, but like some topic we want to highlight concerning the current situation of COVID-19. So first one is, as I clearly mentioned, integrated healthcare solution, because remote solution or remote like a diagnostic, many people pay attention. But important thing is not just key device, also just tool for the doctor, but also the important thing is how to create a new platform. So we pay attention to such kind of connected various key player or key technology services in healthcare. The next one is like a empowerment human capability would be very interesting domain. Then one important thing is the COVID-19. Many people, even in the States, many people pay attention to the unemployment. So almost difficult to achieve huge improvement of work efficiency. Let's change everything to robotics, remove the people. Might be difficult, create a huge issue in social. So kind of enhanced human capability type of solution would be one of the interesting area related AI and automation, also the software for enterprise services. Yeah, but it's kind of exciting timing because many people know after or during or after financial crisis in 2008, many current unicorns showing up, right? Stripe, Square, Uber, Pinterest, or Lyft. So in 3 or 5 years, the massive change happened in innovation area. So we're so excited about that.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for that. There's a question about, the aging population in Japan and the new challenges around aging that result from COVID. And so I will answer that question. To your point, Matsuda-san, I don't think COVID has really changed much. It's maybe put into broad relief the issues that Japan has to deal with. But in terms of the aging situation, it's really the shortage of caregivers that Japan is dealing with. And that has implications for institutional care. It has implications for home care, dementia care. The longer term trend that we're seeing in Japan and that frankly the government is supporting is no different. Is not that different from what we're seeing in the U.S. or elsewhere. Namely, the home is going to become home, and the local community are going to become the focus for providing care. And it comes down to how, and increasingly, I think the onus of the cost of paying for care is going to fall on individuals. There's going to be more private pay. Japan has a very robust long-term care insurance system, but the premiums go up every, I believe, 3 years. Co-pays are also going up, and so the onus of care is falling on private individuals. I think the key moving forward is to really enable integrated community care and home care, and maybe that COVID hasn't changed that trend much at all. It's probably just put it into broad relief. But
I think so. So function of hospital totally would be changed. Then shift from hospital to home happened. Then, but it's not isolated hospital and the home, right? It's totally connected. So as I say, how to communicate with doctor and the family, then how to utilizing data or connecting device. So such kind of discussion will happen concerning the circumstances as you suggested.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Let's see. What is the situation with digital health? Are there regulatory issues with digital health in Japan with telehealth? Would anyone like to volunteer an answer?
Can I add one comment? Sorry, many times.
Okay.
Then this is not typical regulatory issue, but the biggest issue of telemedicine, for example, Japan is previous solution is not work for doctor. I mean, like because of telemedicine, doctors' workload has doubled or more complicated. I mean, like need to learn how to utilize telemedicine, for example, or the number of patients dramatically increase. So the important thing is, what is a specific benefit, not only for the customer or patient, but also for the doctor as a user? So every time, like when we pay attention to telemedicine solution in the States, also in Japan, what is the, as I say, specific benefit or outcome to doctor would be very important perspective.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, increasingly we're seeing insurance companies reimbursing for telehealth in the States. Japan is nowhere near that. Telehealth is not a reimbursable service. So I think we have a long way to go in Japan, but I think, you know, COVID has definitely highlighted a need for remote care. And we're likely to see more opportunities, I think, in the future.
I believe so. Yeah.
Remote care. Let's see. Here's a question for Neurotrack. I don't know if this relates to Japan per se, but a question to Neurotrack. Will patient get reimbursement from using the app? Is it a reimbursable service?
Sure, yeah.
Will care provider get benefits for their patients using the app?
Right. So, so the way that Neurotrack's model works is that we actually, right now we are partnering with organizations like Sompo Himawari Life, who provide the service free of charge to their policyholders. So the patient or user does not actually pay out of pocket. It is a free service for them. And in regards to, you know, what Masuda-san said about the benefit to the physician, and Neurotrack is we're still developing our strategy for integrating this into the overall healthcare market. But the benefit to the physician would be actually not trying to add to their workload, but removing the way that traditional cognitive assessment is done today, which is in the office, several hours, paper and pencil, and under direct supervision. So Neurotrack would remove all that by providing this digitally at home. And because we have eye tracking technology in our cognitive assessment, we have what we call eyes on the patient to verify and prove that that data is reliable and taken by the patient that it is intended for. So that's the goal. So hopefully then that will help streamline the physician's workload, but also opens it up to, you know, general physicians to know more about their patients who may be using Neurotrack to monitor their own cognitive health.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I think we have time enough for one more question. Kaihara-san, Taro, we have one question about Palantir and what its application would be in the healthcare space. Maybe you can talk about real data and, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah, okay. So I just want to make sure, but this project is running in Japan now. So as a first initiative, we will focus on the data from caregiving. So as I mentioned earlier, we have 26 units for elderly people who need care. So we are gathering the life log data or medication management data or some kind of sleep log data. So we made a partnership with the Paramount Vet, so we can use the technology to sensing the vital data and quality of sleeping. So we will use these kinds of data for getting the insight with Palantir, and we will sell these kinds of insight from this data as a data business with taking care of the privacy issues. So this is maybe the first step of the project with Palantir in Japan around the healthcare area.
Okay, great. So we're down to 1 minute. And so I I think it's time for us to wrap up. The goal again of this webinar was really to inform everyone about Sompo, about healthcare in Japan, about entering the Japanese market, and hopefully we were this was an enjoyable experience as well. But again, thank you everyone, all attendees for joining us today. And thank you again to Venture Cafe and CIC for hosting this webinar. We should definitely do this more often. There are other areas that Sompo focuses on, whether it's insurance or mobility or whatever, that we would love to engage with startups on. So again, thank you very much, and have a good day, rest of your day. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Joe. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you very
For your
much.
insights. It was fantastic. Thank you, everyone, for attending. This is not the end of the night for us. We still have 2 more sessions coming up. We have 2 industry insights, and if you would like to go and listen to those, they're going to be presented by our local Bostonian entrepreneurs. So click on the links in the chat I've just posted. If you would like to let us know how we did today, please take a survey. I have also posted the link in the chat. And the virtual networking space is still open until 5. If you would like to continue conversation is there, please go ahead and do that. And I'm going to share my screen with a QR code. You can also scan using your mobile device to let us know how we did today. And with this, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, bye.